Empathy is a pretty amazing thing for art, but as a critic, it's a bit of a nightmare. How do I describe how a movie, a series of pictures and sound, managed to make me feel something so intense and full? I could talk about the animation, the writing, the great performances, the factors that led me to these feelings. But I've learned from months upon months of writing stuff like this, all the adjectives in the world cannot convey this feeling. But hey, I can try. Finding Nemo is a coming-of-age story, but instead of the traditional type of the story where a young character goes on an adventure, and then they come back and their parents are like, wow, we're gonna stop being overprotective and stuff, and you're an adult, and wow. Instead, it's a father who is shaken up by a traumatic event and has to learn to let go while also trying to save his son from a diver/dentist. This movie details the story of a dad fish who has his one son fish stolen by a diver/dentist. It's a bit of a sad movie, but also in my opinion, it's the best sad Pixar movie. Like, I enjoyed Up, but parts were a bit forgettable, and even its opening sequence just felt like a bit too much. This movie is perfect. It's structured really well, the characters are all great, and I think it's the first movie to prove that Pixar was like really the king, you know? Because at this point, they released Toy Story 2 and A Bug's Life, both of which not bad movies by any means, but I don't think anyone thinks of A Bug's Life when it comes to great Pixar movies. Nemo was their first real time trying to do this emotional kind of sad story, and not even really try to mask it under the guise of monsters or bugs or toys. Finding Nemo feels like the perfect movie to be PG. I mean, it's one of those small cases where maybe a kid's movie does need a little guidance. This movie got a G rating though, because all art rating boards are stupid and dumb. Even outside of that though, this is a really ambitious idea to push to kids, that their parents are people and that their actions are a result of their experiences, just like your actions are a result of your experiences. It's a complex subject, and even though I've only been able to put it into words once I've grown up, I could definitely say that that message certainly resonated with me as a kid. This movie seems to deal a lot with mental illness. Marlin, having been traumatized at the death of his wife, becomes a bit of a paranoid shut-in. They go to an AA meeting. Many of the fish in the tank suffer from something resembling OCD. Dory having short-term memory loss is practically like half of her character. This movie is intensely focused on these mental illnesses. This movie shows how people's actions aren't always who they are. Obviously, people should take the responsibility of their actions, especially when they hurt people. When it comes to a character like Shark and Marlin, blending these human issues with fish gives a new insight into the reasons why these people do the things that they do. It's really easy as a non-addict to see an addict as someone who is willingly throwing their life away, hurting their family, etc. In the context of a shark trying to push against 100,000 years of evolution and biological programming, it seems a lot harder. It seems practically impossible. Someone like Marlin in the real world would be seen as an overprotective and crazy parent. But when you put a human problem like PTSD in the context of having all your children and your wife taken away from you, then it's a lot easier to be more constructive and forgiving. This movie is a response to how society views these dark mental illnesses. And while I would say people now are much more accepting and willing to help the suffering, we've still got a lot of work to do. Anyway, Nemo.